Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. If you cast your mind back to October, there was the big storm, Babet. It caused absolute devastation in some regions, one of them being up in Angus, and where Brechin was absolutely devastated. Flooding, damage, cars washed away. There was no end of the problems that the poor people there are still living with. They were cut off because of landslides and flooding, and all this help was promised, and yet so very little help has actually arrived. Kendall himself actually went there and said to people, "Don't worry, I'm on top of this situation. I will personally make sure that you are sorted out." It's now 2 months later, and people are not sorted out. This is what happens when people like Kendall go and make promises that they're quite incapable of fulfilling because they just literally don't care. We'll take a look and see what's gone on and see why the Grand Mufti, as we're going to take to calling him now, doesn't give a flying hoot about the people of Brechin or anywhere else for that matter, because they're not, in his words, the right colour. Here goes. So, Kendall's Brechin flooding boasts exposed as council forced to wait weeks for support. Well, to be honest, it's months now. It's been 2 months. It was the middle of October and it's now the middle of December. So it's been 2 months and nothing has happened. But then nothing was ever going to happen, was it? He doesn't do things because he thinks they're right. He announces things in front of the press so that people will think he's doing things. It's all about spin and image. Very little substance. But then he is a man of very little substance. He's very low intelligence. He's very lazy. He's filled with hate and division. But he's not capable of doing anything. So which is why he always just announces that he's going to do things that then never materialise. The First Minuscule told broadcasters that the Scottish Government was working closely with Angus Council to help storm Babet hit residents and businesses. But emails from the local authority shed doubt on these claims. Well, as I say, everything he opens his mouth and everything that comes out is a lie. So yeah, of course nobody believes a bloody word of it. So Useless's boasts about offering as much support to flood hit Brechin as quickly as possible have been exposed, as new emails revealed that Angus Council was forced to wait weeks for help after requesting it. The First Minister was quick to visit the region after Storm Babet caused chaos because he knew the press would be there and it was important for him to be seen, to be caring and, and worried. But he really isn't, because he just doesn't care. Speaking to the BBC while being shown some of the damage, the SNP leader said, "I'm hoping my being here so quickly after that terrible weather event is a demonstration the government at the highest level will be involved in discussions with Angus Council to help as much as we possibly can. If you truly wanted to help, you would give them a lot of help. You wouldn't just be there looking on, making sure that the press and the TV people were pointing cameras and things at you while you disseminated your bile and crap about wanting to help, because you didn't. When you turn up, did you bring lorries? Did you bring equipment? Did you bring your checkbook? No, none of those things, because obviously that's too much like actually helping rather than announcing that you're going to help. Angus Council chiefs had to beg the government for help repeatedly before finally being granted an audience with the official to discuss issues relating to the severe weather. Oh yeah, I mean, like I say, no help at all. None at all. Homes and businesses in Brechin were swamped, with millions of pounds worth of damage being caused due to the failure of flood defences. Emails show that the local authority's chief executive, Margot Williams, complained that the SNP executive ignored her for a fortnight after flooding hit the area. Useless visited on October the 23rd, which was 4 days after the South Esk flooded and caused chaos there. He said that the government and council were working together. No, they weren't. That's a lie, like everything else the lying brown person says. But Miss Williamson shed doubt on these claims, as she wrote on October the 25th. The FM visited on Monday and said several times that the government were working with Angus on support for the people of Brechin. I clearly did not want to say otherwise, but I am unaware of any contact from officers in government to outline what help might be possible. No, here's what you got told by them. You're on your own. We were only there for the photo op. She later wrote again on October the 31st, adding, "It is concerning, almost 2 weeks on, that no officer in Scottish Government has contacted myself to ask how we're coping as a council." And she was finally offered a 15-minute catch-up with the administration's Sean Neal, who's Director of Local Government, on November the 2nd. So he's fairly a long way down the food chain, and she was given a whole 15 minutes. Unbelievable, isn't it? The official minutes of those talks noted that there is frustration at official level about the gap between the need for the central and local government to work together on recovery and visible actions. Between recovery and the visible actions. In other words, government said, yeah, we'll help you. The council said, yes, we really need your help. And then the government buggered off and did nothing. Because they can't. They don't have the money. They don't have the resources. But they just don't have the willpower, do they? If it's not, once they've done the photo up, they get in their cars and they sod off. Yeah, everyone look. It makes it look as though we care. Sod them. Scottish Tory MSP and general election candidate for Angus and Perthshire, Glenn's Stephen Kerr, Glenn's old name. Anyway, blasted useless for his public claims about the joined up working when the council was seemingly cut adrift. He said that the Nationalists were full of promises but no action. Oh yeah, I mean he's very much one of those, isn't it? If we had some eggs, we'd have some bacon and eggs. If we had some bacon. And that's the way that the Grand Mufti works. All talk, no trousers. Nothing there. He added, the people of Angus, especially Brechin, will be very angry. They've been offered next to no help to respond to the immediate aftermath of the storm. Not a penny has been promised to help Angus recover and improve the flood defences of the affected areas. A cost Angus Council says is going to be in the many millions. But still, as long as they're spending $8 million a month on spin doctors, pointless. No, don't want to spend that money on actually helping people, do they? Just want to spend it on looking good. Angus Council spokeswoman said that since the Chief Executive's lying letter, the task force has been set up and the grants of £1,500 per household and £3,000 per business have been announced. The Scottish Government spokesman said it had been committed throughout to supporting local recovery efforts. Well, that's a complete and utter lie, isn't it? And the Storm Babet Ministerial Task Force was established to coordinate and support on both the immediate recovery response and longer term issues. But they've done precisely the square root of bugger all because they don't care. Everything has got to be about image and spin, the optics, the gloss, but there's never any substance. They lie and then they lie about their lies. This is why Scotland's in the state it is. Because at the top, you got these people preening around like prima donnas, only concerned with image, not concerned with actually getting the job done. Because the job's hard, and they're not up to it. They lack intelligence, they lack ability, and they lack the impetus to do anything to help anyone. Because it's not in their, it's not in their interest to help people. They actually want a destroyed Scotland, so that they can provide this little view of what utopia would look like. It's the playbook of the National Socialists, isn't it? Anyway, I'll stop there. I'll come up. We'll round off and we'll just move on to the next story. But it's just another example of how terrible these wankers at the top truly are. Coming up. So you've got to think about those poor people. I mean, unless you, dear viewer, are one of those poor people. In which case, I do absolutely feel sorry for you. You were cut off for days, or at the very least, there was a huge round trip to get anywhere. You couldn't get relief in. There was food shortages. The water was problematic. There was drainage issues. It must have been sheer awful. But, luckily, the man from the government turned up to help. How's it going? Honest to goodness, it's awful, isn't it? But again, it is all spin, no substance. And that is the SNP way. Because doing something is hard. And they are quite incapable. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well. And I will speak to you later. Bye.